breaking developments that have just come in the Yaqub Memon case. I'm just going to give a chance for our viewers to put them out. Sedition cases have now been filed against Asaduddin Owaisi, the MIM chief, as well as actor Salman Khan for their support to Yaqub Memon and their demand that he not be hanged. Sedition cases have now been filed. One can presume that they have been filed by a petitioner who has taken this up with the court. A sedition case, of course, does not, of course, preclude or include the fact that this would be accepted by a court on maintainable grounds or not. But the fact is, someone has decided that at least a legal test of their commentary and their opinions after a Supreme Court judgment down to the level of a curative petition is already being announced by the court, whether even after that it is or it is not contempt to actually question the fact that this individual was a terrorist. Sumit Nagpal, our correspondent who handles and covers the courts, is now joining us on the broadcast. Sumit, if you can hear my voice, what do we know about this petition and on what grounds is it being based?
Hello?
Sumit, can you hear me?
Yeah, if you could.
What do we know about this petition, Sumit? Okay, we'll get Sumit Nagpal back on this broadcast, but a sedition charge has been filed, and that is the takeaway that I'm getting on this entire front against Salman Khan as well as Asaduddin Owaisi. We're going to put out on your screens what Salman Khan and Asaduddin Owaisi had said that has prompted one of the petitioners to go ahead before court and file this charge of sedition. Sumit Nagpal, my colleague, is coming back to me in just a second. Meanwhile, let me go across quickly to Karthike, who's been listening into all of this. Karthike, you know, it is debatable whether this is a prudent course of things, but what is not debatable is that a Supreme Court judgment, a mercy petition, a review petition, a curative petition have all been moved. The chapter should really be closed, but somehow, for some reason, it isn't.
You know, I agree with the fact, Rishabh, and I have no qualms in admitting that every citizen, whatever the crime he has committed, has the right to exhaust all the legal avenues. But today when I was covering the parliament, I must confess this, you know, this sort of movement which we have seen, the petition and the writing and the signature, you know, it smacks of political opportunism. And I'm telling you this has nothing to do with the fact that they are interested in this case. Because if they would have been interested in this case, they would have kept an interest in it when it was nearing its completion, when it was in High Court or Supreme Court. Because Bihar elections are nearby, you know, you have a political constituency there which determines more than any other state like West Bengal, and suddenly you have a clamor in the parliament. So I feel that, you know, this
okay, let's stay with me, Karthike. Sumit is with us. He'll have more details. Sumit, what do we know about this petition, sedition charge?
See, in fact, there was a complaint filed in the trial court of Allahabad, and it was stated that the comments which have been made by Salman Khan and Asaduddin Owaisi, those comments are amounting to sedition, and that's why a prayer was made to the trial court that FIR should be registered in this case and these people should be summoned. So the court has in fact looked into the prima facie evidence, and court has thought it proper that first the pre-summoning evidence should be in fact seen in this case, and that's why these people have been summoned by the trial court in Allahabad. So you have to understand one thing, that one, in the criminal court of the lowest level, the petition was filed which demanded that sedition charges should be invoked against Owaisi and Salman Khan for making such comments that rather they had questioned the execution warrant and death sentence to Yaqub Memon, who was facing death sentence in 93 blasts. So all these things were
Sumit,
mentioned
just stay with me. Let me get Ajaz in on this. Ajaz, you know, there are competing versions, and I'd love to hear from Ajay Shukla on this also, that of course as citizens there is a freedom of opinion. You and I have the right to make whatever opinion we have into the public foray. But then the counter argument comes in that once all avenues of legal jurisprudence have been exhausted in this country, sometimes a chapter should be closed, especially when it comes to sensitive cases of terror. What is your thought?
Well, like I said yesterday, and I'm saying it today again on your channel, that the Supreme Court does and must have the final authority in all clemency petitions which are filed and which go up to it. Any terrorist who is convicted by all the various courts with due process or legal process over 10-15 years through all the petitions, after that the chapter has to end, because once the Supreme Court has said so, then that's the finality. Even in a democracy, a vibrant democracy like ours, there has to be a full stop, and that can only come at the level of the Supreme Court. Secondly, on the sedition charges, let the court test the merit of the validity of the charges. Thirdly, as far as Yaqub Memon is concerned, some people on your television screen, like Abu Asim, said he's a Muslim.
Okay.
Well, the Muslims have nothing to do, and he's not a face of, he doesn't represent the Muslims, and Muslims want to delink themselves from terror, and it's a fallacy. You try to demonize Muslims by linking Yaqub's religion and calling him a Muslim.
Okay, that's unfair also. Ajay Shukla, what are your thoughts on this? Because just like politicians play politics, politics of appeasement, politics of minority linking, which Ejaz Ilmi is asking us to shun. There are several lawyers who go to the other extreme and seek publicity by filing all sorts of cases against popular people. But where do you stand on this? Is it reasonable that even after the Supreme Court has exhausted all its options, even then a debate should continue on this?
I'm sure you know that when an execution takes place in the United States, which we will all agree is a vibrant democracy, the passage of the sentence does not end the debate over the innocence and guilt of the person concerned. In every execution, there is always a demonstration going on outside the prison where the execution takes place. Long after the person is executed, there are people fighting to clear his name, and in many cases they have succeeded in clearing their names. So whoever gets up and says that there has to be a full stop at some place, and when the Supreme Court has spoken, then all arguments are ended, does not know about jurisprudence and does not know about democracy and does not know about how citizens fight to win rights and clear names of people concerned. So these are not just lawyers who are sitting over there trying to file cases to save Yaqub Memon. There is civil society. There's a whole bunch of people who believe that the death sentence needs to be abolished. There are people who believe that Yaqub Memon is not innocent. And we have to grant them their space. This is not a democracy if we say the Supreme Court has spoken, now all of you keep quiet and you're not allowed to speak any longer. Secondly, as far as this sedition case against Salman Khan and Asaduddin Owaisi is concerned, this is a joke, and reporting it is a joke. If tweeting in favor of Yaqub Memon is seditionable, if such a word exists, all I can say is, come on, file a case on me as well. I am speaking in favor of Yaqub Memon. This is some nutcase who has filed this case.
In fact, that is the point, Ajay Shukla, that I was making, that there are several lawyers who, for seek publicity, file these kind of cases. I think you misinterpreted what I had said and converted into filing cases on behalf of Yaqub Memon. I'm going to take a short break and come back to this debate and discussion on this issue. Several other developments are happening on the other side.